Welcome back to Pagitt Radio, 11:20, 20 minutes after the hour here in the Twin Cities. A beautiful day outside, folks. In fact, if you're listening to the program right now, finish up my conversation with MPT, Matthew Paul Turner here, and then you should get yourselves outside because it's a glorious day. Matthew Paul Turner is the author of a number of books and a whole concept actually called Jesus Needs New PR. So if you search for Jesus Needs New PR, you'll get connected into all things Matthew Turner. And he's written a book called Hear No Evil, which is his story of life and faith as it is seen through music. And so if you like music and you're into thoughtful conversations about how faith and music interplay, this is a book for you to pick up. You can go to MatthewPaulTurner.com and get it, or go to all your regular places where you buy books. Common Good Books here in the Twin Cities, Garrison Keillor shop. I'm sure I'll have it for you, as well as those online retailers, Amazon and Barnes & Noble and all those folks. So Matthew Paul Turner, the author of Hear No Evil. Now, Matthew, you tell a story in the book about sitting in a little hip coffee shop in Nashville, where you live, and you see this guy walk in, and right off the bat, you can tell this guy is a Christian rock fella, as opposed to what you would consider to be a legitimate rock guy. Yeah. And you can tell right off the bat, and you mentioned there that you, in the way that some people have a highly refined gaydar and they can just pick out gay people, that you have a highly refined Christian rock guy. Dar.
Yeah, it is. It's there is a look. You know, you eventually you kind of, once you're here long enough, you can kind of see the people who actually live the rock and roll lifestyle or live the musician lifestyle. Yeah. And, you know, people who are portraying the people who live the rock and roll star. It's interesting to me because, like, here's this kid who, you know, is trying to look like some of his favorite bands, and you know, there's nothing. I mean, I don't think I have nothing wrong with that at all. Right. But here's you know, this look portrays somebody who has lived life, and he's just a little too nice, a little too smiley, little too like too much, caring too much. Like the look is wearing him instead of him wearing the look. It's that kind of a thing, and so like you can kind of pick it out. You know, especially when they're when there's like a convention in town and whatnot. It's like Halloween around here.
Yeah, and a bunch of Christian musicians show up. Yeah. Now, what do you think that's about? Because really, when you're writing this book, or when you wrote your church book, or when you wrote Jesus Needs New PR, all these things, you're really getting at something. I mean, you're not just commenting on music and faith and trying to sell books. You really want to see people have a new perspective about faith and engagement and media and life. Like what really is this big project that you're about with writing these books and so on? What's really going on? What are you trying to say?
You know what? I want us to stop. I want each of us to engage God within the context of our own story. And stop defining God and defining the story of how we're supposed to engage it, for other people. Yeah. I think that it's you know, Doug, my entire life, it was more about who was not a part of God's story as opposed to who was involved in it or who was engaging it, and how can we learn from that person. I'm not saying that everything, you know, it's like, you know, if you're more conservative, that's fine. Like but do, you know, just stay focused on what it is that you're doing and how you're doing it, and how you're loving people, and how you're, you know, extending and being the hands and feet of God. So it's what happens is when we take that and we define it for other people because of something that we've experienced. Yeah. It you know, that does more pushing people out than it does inviting people in.
Yeah, I have a friend who puts it this way. He says, "Don't make your experience my obligation." Isn't that a great way to say it? Like let your experience be my invitation. Let your experience lead me somewhere. Let your experience influence me. Let your experience even call me to something. But don't make it my obligation. So finding the way to live.
I can't tell you how many times I would, as a you know, a teenager and a college student, read books by, you know, various famous Christian authors. Yeah. And I would want to embrace every little thing that they did.
Right.
And, because I didn't have the experiences that they did, and I didn't have I wasn't in the same location, I didn't have the same people around me, I wasn't the same person.
Yeah.
I rarely ever experienced those things.
Right.
But then there would be somebody like a Brennan Manning, whose book would, like you said, just inspire me to dig deeper.
Yeah.
Inspire me to do something that was different than what I was used to doing. And not necessarily exactly like him, because he didn't give me the 6 points or the diagram. It is. I guess that's the thing. It's not this thing called life is not. The Christian life is not a It's not meant to be diagrammed.
Right.
It's not meant to be. It's like if you want to study God and engage God through Calvinism, then my gosh, do it. I like engage it, but don't define it for me by that.
I think that's what people
don't tell everybody that this is how it is, because at the end of the day, that it's faith. It's not something that you can put hard lines around.
Yeah, I think that's what people are going to appreciate about Hear No Evil is it's your description, but not your prescription. So you're describing your life and
story, Doug, and that's the thing. Like I'm at a place in my life I don't have to tell anybody. Like my earlier books, there's a couple of them that I kind of go back and cringe because I wasn't.
Right.
I just wasn't there yet, and so, or I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. I wasn't confident enough, and so but now I'm at a place where I'm just telling a story. I don't have to prove anything. I don't have to tell anybody how to live. I'm just telling people what I've experienced, how I've engaged God, how I've done things, and if they can find their own story in that, then great. If they just look at it and read it and laugh, then that's great too.
Can you give us in 1 minute? Can you give us one of your favorite pieces of the book of Hear No Evil? Can you give us one of your favorite little stories?
I was a huge Amy Grant fan. Amy Grant was like my big. I was just I was a geek, and so I was.
She was your Tina Fey.
Amy. And so when I became the editor of CCM, I was actually the person who went and did the interview with Amy, when she was on the cover during my tenure there, and I was sent in by my publisher. The publisher was really, really super conservative, who didn't like contemporary Christian music. He only liked Southern gospel music, which is fine, but that's what he was. And so anyway, he said for me, I was sent in with the assignment to get Amy Grant to apologize for divorcing Gary Chapman. And we had already interviewed her twice since then.
How about that?
Yeah, and so that's one of the stories of, what happens.
Well, this is Matthew Paul Turner. He has written a book that you're going to enjoy called Hear No Evil, and you should pick it up. And you can get it all the regular places. And if you're at all into the interconnection between faith and music and how that shapes a person, how it bends them, how it creates us, so what it does to us, and I think Matthew's story is one that'll connect with yours. So, Matthew, good luck to you, and thanks for being on Doug Pagitt Radio.
Oh,
hey,
my pleasure.
Before I let you go, I like to do this for people who have an interest in music. Your favorite Bruce Springsteen song?
Oh gosh, dude.
Oh, gee, see, the
song from Philadelphia.
Ah,
yeah, definitely.
There you go, Matthew Paul Turner, inviting you to go over and pick up the soundtrack to Philadelphia and the Bruce Springsteen song there.
Yeah.
Matthew Paul Turner over at MatthewPaulTurner.com. No relation to Turner Broadcasting, but he's got his own little broadcasting empire going on over there. Also, find him on Facebook and friend him up. Doug Pagitt Radio on AM 950, the voice of Minnesota, and DougPagittRadio.com.